What's up, you guys? It's been a second. It's been too long, that's for sure. I've been enjoying life. I've been enjoying life a lot. It's been busy. I've been editing. I have a vlog or maybe two vlogs. It's a long vlog, so I might split it into two. But I've been traveling. I've been trying to spend a lot of time with friends, spending time with family, and honestly, things have just been good. Things have been really good despite the horrors. Things have been really good despite everything out of my control. It feels like everything out of my control is just spiraling into chaos all of the time. But everything in my control, the things that I actually have day to day power over, those things have been great. My job's been going really well. My relationships with my friends, just everything it's been good. It's been good, and it feels good to be back talking to you. Um, and I was just reflecting the other day about where I am now compared to where I was a year ago today. Like a year ago, literally a year ago tomorrow from the time I'm recording this, which is literally in like 2 hours, was my last day at my old bartending job. And at the time, I was working a sales job Monday through Friday, and then I was working this bartending job Friday, Saturday. So I would literally just be cold calling Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And this was fall through winter of 2023. And I would get done with work at 5 o'clock, and it would be dark outside because it's winter. And I would go to the gym, come home, eat dinner, just rinse and repeat. That was just my life. And then on Fridays, I would get off work a little bit early at like 4:30, and then I would drive to my bartending job at the restaurant and start that at 5, and then I would bartend from 5 to like 12:30 at night. And then I would do bartending same shift Saturday night, so I only had Sundays off, and I was just wearing myself into the ground. I was doing two jobs that didn't really fulfill me. The sales job definitely didn't fulfill me. So Monday through Friday, I was just grinding, trying to sell people on stuff. And that was not fulfilling. That didn't feel good in my soul. And then I would bartend, and I enjoyed bartending. I used to bartend at a nightclub when I was in college. That was a lot of fun. But the hours were just so late for that. And I thought it would be similar bartending at this restaurant, but it was much more corporate. There was a lot more rules. I didn't really fit in with my coworkers, which is weird because most of the time, like 99% of the time, whatever situation you put me in, whatever group of people you put me in, I typically get along with people. I just didn't feel like I really fit in. It didn't feel like they liked me there, which was strange. I'd never really been in that position before. But um, so I was just extremely unfulfilled, and I kept getting sick over and over again. And I don't get sick very often. I kept getting sick, and I just knew it was time for a change. I would be driving up to work and just like get anxiety attacks, and it was not fun. So I was reflecting on, and the last day of that was April 10th of last year, and tomorrow is April 10th. April 10th is in a couple hours, and thinking about where I was there and where I am now is just night and day. And I feel so thankful. I feel so grateful for it. Um, that doesn't go without saying that I've worked extremely hard to get where I am, changing positions at my job, doing stuff that's a lot more creatively fulfilling, creating on TikTok, doing things like this. And I owe a huge part of that to you. Whoever's watching, I'm sure you came from TikTok. I'm sure you came from some other creative outlet that I have. And without you, without everyone that's watched me, I wouldn't be able to be doing what I'm doing now. Um, and I'm really thankful for that. The freedom that I have, the security that I feel is really special, and I'm in a much better place than I was a year ago. So thank you. So recently I was in a Newsweek article, which is so ridiculous. Like, I was reached out to by this journalist, this reporter, and she was like, "Hey, I really enjoyed your video about I really enjoyed your video about the laundry cap." I don't know if any of you have seen this one, but I basically had posted a TikTok of a video that I had seen where this girl's boyfriend is doing laundry and he puts the whole laundry cap into the washing machine. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. I've never heard of this before. And so I made a video about it, and then that video took off. And she wanted to write an article about it and like feature the video in Newsweek or whatever. So we had been emailing back and forth, and the article came out on April 2nd, and I finally read it the other day, and it was pretty cool. And I was laughing at myself because it was just like a very silly circumstance. Just to be featured for a video like that in general is silly. To be featured over a TikTok feels silly. But I was trying to be deep and somewhat profound about the idea of making silly videos on the internet, while also having like, if you know me, you're probably gonna laugh at this. So as I was reading it, I was just laughing at myself sounding quite pretentious about the idea of just making videos on the internet. But in a way, it was honest at the same time, because making videos does feel kind of like this deep and meaningful thing to me. Like, most of the things I talk about are trends or current events or something. So I'm usually putting my own spin on it, or trying to have some sort of perspective, or something where I'm either trying to create something where someone watches it and they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel understood, or it changes their perspective and they're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. But at face value, it's just a silly little video on the internet. So I try not to get too deep and too pompous about it, because at the end of the day, I'm very much aware that I'm just yapping to my phone and people are watching it. And if they get something from it, great. Even if it's just like they giggle for 2 seconds, like, to me, that's extremely meaningful. So in that article, it sounds a little bit like I'm standing on my soapbox, which I'm fully aware of. Like, as I was responding to her emails and stuff, I was giggling as I was typing it, because I was like, this sounds so pretentious, but it also is earnest at the same time. So I had to throw a little bit of comedy in there as well, because she was like, what other things would you try to do the unconventional way, or something like that? And I was like, oh, maybe like gardening naked or something. And the whole premise was like, we take life so seriously, and there's so many things that are mundane, and why not switch it up? Like, if it's not hurting someone and it brings you joy, why not switch it up? So I was like, maybe gardening naked in your backyard. Like, as long as it's not hurting anyone and it works for you, have at it. Because like, the things that work for me, the things that bring me joy, to other people are probably a disaster. So it's like, however we can find little moments of joy in life to break up the mundane and the monotony, I'm all for it. Like, we're supposed to enjoy this life. Like, that's why it's the motto of my brand, like, of everything, is enjoy this life. Like, we don't know if this is the only one we get, so might as well enjoy it. Like, it's so fragile. We really have to enjoy it to the fullest extent. Let's get into a little catch up. So I recently went on a trip to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and a couple of my friends had been working out there for the season, and they snowboard all of the time. I went with a couple other friends that snowboard all of the time. And this was only my second time ever snowboarding. So as you can imagine, it would be difficult to keep up. So the first day that we were on the mountain, it was just blizzard. Like, the wind is whipping like 20, 30 miles per hour. It's dumping snow. Like, my goggles are freezing over. I'm falling over a ton because it's my second time ever snowboarding, and the hills in Jackson are extremely steep. But like, it took me an hour or two, and then I kind of got my bearings, and I was like, okay, I can figure this out. Like, I'm athletic enough to where I could keep up with you guys without getting hurt. So we were out there, and this blizzard is insane. Like, you can maybe see 15 feet in front of you, and I'm just eating shit. Like, on the wind-blown sides, it's all icy, and the first like half of the first day, I was not having fun. I was getting frustrated because I don't enjoy being bad at things. I I just expect myself to be naturally good at everything, which is a crazy expectation that I'm aware of. And I was getting frustrated with my inability to do what they were doing. And I was just like trying to be kumbaya, trying to be patient. And then the blizzard kicked in, and I was like, I can't see. I'm falling. It's icy. I keep getting stuck. Like it was either we're going down ice or I'm in like 3 feet of powder. Um, and we sat down for lunch. We went into the resort and we ate some food, and I was just like banged up. My feet are hurting from the rental boots. I'm freezing cold because I keep falling. So there's like snow where snow's not supposed to be when you're snowboarding, which is on your body. I was wearing all of the layers and shells and everything, but when you fall, it like gets into your neck and in your pants and just like all of these things. So I'm cold. My hood's like literally frozen. I was wearing this hood that goes over your snowboarding helmet. Thank God I had that because it covers your face as well. But that was completely frozen. Like everything, the strings of my hood are frozen. And so we go in to eat lunch, and we're all just, when you're like a week into vacation and everyone's just sitting there silent. That's how it was on our first day on the slopes. Like we were all just like beat up, like what the fuck. And we ate our food. We got so much food, which was incredible. It's like when you're exhausted and starving, we hadn't eaten all day, and like you're just getting banged up. And we got a bunch of orders of chicken tenders and then like a big plate of nachos. And I got like a Moscow Mule or something like that, which was literally like ginger ale and vodka with like a lime in it, but it was whatever. And I just devoured as many chicken tenders as I could. And we were sitting there, and the blizzard outside was so bad that they closed the runs, and which I was kind of happy about because I was like so sore and banged up already that I was like, I kind of need a break. Like, I don't really want to go out there. If you guys want to go out there, you can, but I'll meet you in like an hour. I just need to chill for a little bit. But they had closed all the runs, so we couldn't go anywhere. So we just sat and chilled, which was really nice. And then they opened up some of the lower runs because up on the hill there was lightning, and obviously that's dangerous when you're taking the lifts and snowboarding and stuff on top of this mountain. So they opened some of the lower lifts, and by then I was like, okay, I'm having a lot more fun. It was easier runs. Like I was actually carving and whatnot, which was a lot of fun. And then the second day was a lot more fun because I was like, okay, I can actually keep up. We were doing some really cool hills, some really cool runs. We were doing hikes, like we were hiking with the snowboards on our backs. We would like go to the very top of the mountain and then snowboard like halfway down and then go off to the side and then hike up a different mountain where it's like a lot more secluded. And then you snowboard down like really, really nice powder because it hasn't been touched by anyone else. And, the hiking at that elevation while carrying a snowboard and like in snowboarding boots and all of the gear was so tough, but like it was also so fun because it's so beautiful everywhere. It's just white, and the sun was out a little bit that day, and it's like the most beautiful landscape you've ever seen, and you're just like hiking with your best friends and your snowboard on your back, and it was so much fun. But by the end of the second day, I was like, oh yeah, like I'll just do one more run. Like we've been out here a while, we've done quite a bit today. I'll just do one more run. And people always say like the last run, when you say, okay, I'll do one more, like that's when things tend to go wrong, which like I know. But I was like feeling okay. I was feeling tired, but I was like, okay, this will be the last one. And my body was like so tired and so fatigued that I just couldn't get it to do what I needed it to do. It was like my I was having this disconnect between my brain and my body where I was like, okay, I'm trying to kick out my back foot and it just like wouldn't go. And so I was catching edges, and I fell more on that last run than I did the entire second day. And I was getting so frustrated, and everyone was like down on the hill, and I just kept falling and falling and falling. And I was going down like on the cat tracks where people go, like instead of going through the trees or on the powder and stuff, they have the cat tracks if you've never snowboarded or skied or whatever. And those are kind of like the trails to get you to the bottom. The like community trails they're not paved, but what's the word I'm looking for? It's like hard, compact snow, whatever. They're almost like roads. So I was like snowboarding on those because I didn't have enough momentum to go through the powder. But my body, I couldn't get my body to do what I wanted. So I was just like kind of trying to like carve a little bit on these cat tracks, but I couldn't do what I wanted. So I kept catching edges on the cat tracks and falling on the hard, compact snow. And I was like, bro, this fucking sucks. And at one point I was just laying there on my back and I felt my phone ringing and I answered. And my friend was like, hey, like, where are you? And I was like, I'm on the hill. I'm tired and I keep falling. Just like, give me a second. And he's like, okay, like, we'll meet you at the bottom. And I was like, all right. And it took me so long to get down there. And I got down there and some people from our group had already called it for the day, which I hadn't known because we were going to meet them at the lift. And like half of them came to the lift and they're like, oh yeah, the others are done. And I was like, oh, I probably should have joined them. But I got down there and they were like drinking Irish coffees and stuff. And I was like, oh, I wish I stayed with you guys. But um, the trip was so much fun. It was beautiful out there. We saw elk, we saw moose. We tried to see bison, but they had already migrated by the time that we were out there. Um, but it was so beautiful out there and just spending time with friends that I haven't seen in a long time. I haven't gotten to spend quality time with. And these are people that I've known for my whole life from elementary school and college friends. So like these people have been with me for years, for most of my life, the majority of my life, and I don't get to see them super often. Um, so it was really nice just to have that time to catch up. And it's like those are the type of friends where you could go years without seeing them, and as soon as you see each other, it's like you just picked up where you left off. It's like there was no time missed whatsoever. It's just so easy and flows so nicely, and it's so important to have those friends. It's so nice, and I really appreciate the time that I was able to spend with them. And when I came back, I was so tired from traveling. My body was sore, and I was like, all right, back into work swing of things and stuff. So I was getting back into the work grind and trying to find balance and whatnot. My boss had been traveling for like a month, so I was house sitting for a long time, and I was just trying to get back into the rhythm of things. And I had gotten sick my last week there, and I've been filming this movie, which some of you may have seen some behind the scenes stuff on Instagram or TikTok, just like me in makeup and costumes. But I've been filming this movie, and my last week of house sitting, which was the last week was right before I went to Jackson Hole. So my last week of house sitting, I had gotten sick. I got like cold, flu, and I was out for like a few days, and I had healed up. I got home from house sitting and I was like, okay, I'm good. I want to chill a couple of days before I have to go film. And that Saturday we were going out for dinner for one of my friend's birthdays, and we go out to dinner and I have to be on set the next day at like 1 p.m. So we go out to dinner and we're at like this German bar, and we're all like drinking a little bit. I have like 2 beers, nothing crazy. And I order a burger. And I was like, oh, this burger's a little undercooked, but I'm at a restaurant. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm eating the burger. We go out in Hollywood. We go to Anderson Paak's bar. Really, really cool. Listen to great music. I run into someone I haven't seen in a long time. It was like, oh my God, what are the odds at this random bar that I've never been to run into this person? It's so good to see them. And the next morning I wake up way earlier than my alarm is set, and just immediately, like in my mind's eye, like my eyes are closed and I feel nauseous. And I'm like, oh my God, am I about to throw up right now? And like my eyes are closed, and like in my mind's eye, I see this mental image of the burger. And as soon as I see that mental image of the burger, I dart to the bathroom. I take my retainers out, put them on my nightstand, and run to the bathroom and just start throwing up. And I've never had food poisoning in my life. This is my first time. Like, I don't know how I've traveled through Asia. I've been Central America. I've been all of these different places and have never had food poisoning. And the day that I have to wake up to go to set, I wake up and I'm throwing my guts up. So I text all the producers and director and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I'm still going to be there, but I just want to let you guys know that this is where I'm at. If you're uncomfortable, I totally understand. I think it's just food poisoning. I don't think it's the flu or anything. Like, I was sick last week, but I'm good. I think it's just food poisoning, but just like wanted to give you guys a heads up. And they're like, okay, like if you're feeling okay, obviously please come. Because that whole day on set was like 90% me. Like the scenes were all very like me centric, which is weird to say, but like my character, these scenes are all about him. Um, so I kind of needed to be there, but I was sick as a dog, so I just laid on my floor under a blanket, just literally on my carpet, laid under a blanket in a ball after throwing up several times, and and I got a cup of ice cubes and a bag of ginger chews, and thank God we have ginger chews in the house. But I literally drove like an hour, hour and a half to set because we were shooting on location that day, and as opposed to the studio. And I'm driving and like I'm just so cold, like my body's depleted of energy. So I'm wearing like a long sleeve and a hoodie, and I go through like these waves of being like shivering cold and then just like super nauseous, sweating, overheated. So I'm like eating these ice cubes and sucking on these ginger chews, and I get to set, and we're in like the makeup studio, and I put on my costume, and they're doing the makeup, and my eyes are closed and it's stuffy, and I had to keep taking laps around the studio. But thank God we were shooting outside, because like in between takes I was just laying in the grass and I was like munching on a banana. I had some club soda. Um, and everyone was so sweet about it. Like everyone was so nice all day. They're like, "Hey, how you feeling? Are you good? Do you need anything?" Um, it was really nice, but like thank God that I didn't need to be there until 1, and we got everything wrapped relatively quickly. So it wasn't that long of a day. But I was like, of course, the one time I get food poisoning is when I have to be on camera for hours on end. But we're all good. We're all good. It all worked out. Something cool that did happen recently is I got invited by Dr. Squatch and Don't Tell Comedy to a comedy show out in Venice Beach the other night. This was last weekend, I believe. I got reached out to by the PR team from Dr. Squatch, and they're like, "Hey, we've seen your TikToks. Like, we think you're so funny. This and that. We would love if you could make it to our." It was like a TikTok shop, Dr. Squatch, Don't Tell Comedy brand day event. And I love comedy shows. I love stand up. So I'm like, yeah, of course I'm down. So I took my friend Connor and we went. It was like this really cool little venue in Venice Beach. And we watched, I think there's 5 or 6 comics, and they were all so good. They were killer. Like whenever I go to a comedy show, I feel like out of a lineup of 5 people, maybe like 3 of them are really good. And then there's a couple where I'm like, okay, like not the best, but not terrible or whatever. But I swear every person on this lineup was so incredibly funny, and I was crying laughing, and it was so nice because they had an open bar for us. So me and Connor had a couple beers and we're just watching stand up, and I got to meet a bunch of creators, kind of like mutuals, I guess, in a sense, just like we go to the same social media. So I guess we're I guess we're coworkers in a sense, but there are some people that I had recognized that I've seen on TikTok for like years. And it was really cool to meet people that had seen my content, but I've never met before. Like that was the first time that in real life someone was like, yeah, I've seen your videos. And I'm like, that's really crazy, because the only times that people in real life have seen my videos are like when it's my family or friends. I've never had it where someone's come up and be like, "Oh my God, are you so and so?" Or like, "Did you make this video?" or whatever. So to be at an event where like the people that were putting it on, like obviously the PR team has to do their research and watches the videos of the people that they invited. But even then, for the PR team to be like, "Oh my God, yeah, we watch your videos in our office and blah, blah, blah." It was like, it was crazy. I was like, "What? Oh, why are you guys watching my videos?" And like, "We think you're so funny." And I'm just like, "Okay, this is crazy. This is crazy." I like, it doesn't feel real. Um, but it was a really cool feeling, and I had so much fun. And we went out with a couple of the people from the team afterwards, and it was really nice. It was really nice just to meet people that do the same type of stuff that I do. We're all like a bit different, but I met some of the comics, um, and everyone was so nice, and I had so much fun. So a big thank you to Dr. Squatch, Don't Tell Comedy, TikTok Shop, for inviting me out there and allowing me to have a +1. Connor had a great time. My friend Connor is a chef, which is so cool. So every time that I go to some sort of event or whatever, and people start asking me about what I do for work, I'm like, oh, my friend Connor is a chef, and turn the conversation on him because I think that what he does is so much cooler. Um, and I love hearing him and watching him talk about it. And other people are always so interested. So whenever we go out, I always bring up the fact that he's a chef, and it's so fun to like see people's reactions and see him get to talk about what he does and whatnot. Because I rarely like talking about myself, which is, I know it sounds ironic for someone that has been yapping for almost 30 minutes literally about myself. When it comes to like actual in-person conversations, like about what I do for work or things that like I've accomplished, whatever it may be. But like, those conversations where it's like, so what do you do? I'm like, I don't like those. I don't know why, but I'm not a big fan of that type of conversation. So I always turn it on Connor because I think what he does is so cool. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the White Lotus season 3. So if you have not watched the White Lotus season 3, if you haven't finished it, if you haven't watched the finale, there's going to be spoilers because I'm going to talk about it. This past Sunday was the finale of the White Lotus season 3, and I'd been watching it each and every week. Me and my dad, that's been like our Sunday night show. I'm a big fan of the first 2 seasons. I love season 1. I love season 2. And I've come to find out that there's a lot of people that just jumped to season 2 and skipped season 1. And I'm like, season 1 is so incredible and so instrumental to the story, but also I can't justify just like skipping the entire first season of a show. Like that just doesn't make sense. Even though they're pretty much unrelated aside from some important crossover, obviously. Most of the characters from season 1 aren't in season 2. But it's like you have to watch season 1, and season 1 is so good. I loved season 1, but season 3, I thought the finale was good, but I was left with so many questions, and I think that's exactly what Mike White, the director and creator of it, wanted, was for us to be like, what? Like, I saw an interview where he was basically just saying that he was just edging the audience the entire time, which is a crazy way to put it, but like that's what he did, and the finale, like as soon as it ended, I was like, well, what about this? What about that? And like, I think that's exactly how he wanted us to feel. But I had this feeling that Lachlan was going to die, and I'm happy that he didn't, but also like the way that he came back, and there was like no moment where he was like, oh my God, I almost fucking died. And the family was like, we're so happy you're alive. Like we didn't get to see that. And I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, obviously, his dad knows what happened. And even if the family doesn't know that the dad tried to poison them and the fruit, and that's what happened to Lachlan, just the fact that he had this near-death experience and the dad was so traumatized and he was going through this physical and spiritual moment of, like, death. And then the next time we see him is just, like, on the boat with the hoodie and glasses and stuff. And it's like, was there any sort of moment where Lachlan told his mom and sister and brother that like, I think I almost died and like dad saved me or whatever? Like, was that a moment that had happened? I was so confused about that. I did have a feeling that Chelsea was going to die, and I was like, okay, if Chelsea dies, Rick is probably also going to die. And for the majority of the season, I wasn't a huge fan of their relationship just because he treated her like absolute dog shit, which I'm not a fan of. And I was like, okay, he doesn't deserve her. Like, what is going on here? But by the end of it, I was somewhat rooting for them to be together. I was like, okay, Rick is going through this transformation. He's going to heal. And then him and Chelsea are going to actually be in love, and he's going to treat her right after having this spiritual realization, and he's going to come back to her and treat her right. And that's what I was really hoping for. And then he came back, and they kind of had a moment of that. But then he was overcome again by his father and the whole interaction that he has with, which also, by the way, how come the guy just didn't say anything? Why was he being so cryptic and an asshole about it? Why wasn't he just like, yeah, your father's an asshole, but I'm also your father. I'm an asshole. Instead, he was all cryptic, and then he got fucking killed. That's what you get for bad communication. I think everybody should take note. If you're bad at communicating, you're going to get shot. Take note. That's the lesson. The lesson of season 3 of White Lotus is if you are bad at communicating and don't say what you mean and mean what you say, you will get shot. Because why was he not like, yeah, I'm your father? Why was it until after he got shot and then his wife was like, he is your father, he told me, which was like such a... Anyways, I it's hard to have opinions on the season that haven't already been out there because TikTok is just full of opinions and think pieces and theories and this and that, which like I've contributed to a little bit. Like I'm guilty. I've contributed to it. But I think that it almost took away from the season in a sense. Like every Sunday I would watch it, and then for the week leading up to the next episode, I would just see all these theories and think pieces and opinions about it. And it was like I didn't have as much time to just like sit with it. Like when I watched season 1 and season 2, not only did I binge both of them, but it was just me. Like I watched them late at night. I was by myself and I just binged them, and that's all I had was like my opinions, my perspective. But this one, it was like a week in between each episode, and in those days between, I was just getting inundated with so many different people's opinions about the show that I was like, I don't feel like I can really formulate my own thoughts. And it was like all of these theories kind of spoiled what was going to happen. And I will admit that there were some things where it was predictable, but when you're hearing 100 theories a day, something's bound to stick. Like you're just throwing it at the wall and something's bound to stick. So I feel like it kind of took away from the experience of the season, but maybe I'll go back and watch it and just kind of binge the season as if I would have watched one of the other seasons and see how I feel about it. But I think there was a lot of things that people are seeing as useless plots or subplots or even characters like Mook. Like Mook was useless, but also her character was pivotal for Guy Talk's transformation and pushing him forward. And I was also like, why is she like this the whole season? I was like, what is her deal? What is her deal? Like, she doesn't like Guy Talk unless he's beating people up or killing people. Like, such a weird, like a patriarchal lens that she sees it through. But I would completely understand if Mike White was like, okay, I'm going to write a character for Lisa from Blackpink because she's the most famous person in the fucking world. Of course, I'm going to have her on my show. So I'm going to write her in as a character. So all of her fans watch. Like, from a publicity and marketing perspective, yeah, Mook is a genius character. Just put Lisa in it and have everyone be confused and like wanting to see what is going to happen to Lisa's character, which nothing happens. Nothing fucking happens. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't say anything of substance. It's just her sole existence and the fact that she's like, I don't really like you unless you're successful at your job or hurting people. That is transformative for Guy Talk. But aside from that, like, she's a pretty useless character. But I understand from a publicity perspective why you would want to have her as a character specifically for Lisa to play. Makes complete sense. I also really enjoyed the three women, Kate, Jackie, and Lori. I thought their whole dynamic throughout the entire season was really entertaining. A lot of people are like, well, it was pointless. Nothing happened, this, and that. But it's like, the whole point of the show is it's not really a plot-driven show. Like, if you watch season 1 and you watch season 2, and you go into season 3 and being like, nothing's happening. Like, I don't feel like you watched the first 2 seasons. Like, it's not about watching this sort of plot unravel. It's more about just like watching these people on vacation and understanding characters. And it's a dive into the human psyche, into human nature. And yeah, it's weird. It's fucking weird, but so are humans. Humans are really fucking weird. And I think it's really interesting to watch it like from that perspective rather than being like, what's going to happen? Just observing these characters, these humans, and trying to understand like what makes them tick, why they do the things that they do, rather than what's going to happen. Because I feel like if you watch it through like a what's going to happen lens, all 3 seasons are going to be underwhelming. Because nothing really happens in most of the seasons. The whole purpose of it is to watch life unfold through this really weird and wacky lens, which I find so entertaining. I love that. And I think it's so well shot and so well written, and these characters are so interesting. I really enjoy the show. It's rare that I sit and actually watch shows, but The White Lotus is one that I really enjoy watching. And I think it's for that reason, because I think a medium like film or television or a visual art in that sense is to really showcase the human experience of like, okay, who are these characters? And yeah, they kind of fit into these different archetypes, but Mike White puts these interesting spins on them where it's like, oh, I wouldn't think of that. Or there's something unexpected happens with each character that you don't really see coming. And they go through these different character arcs. And Like, I think back to season one where the dad finds out that his dad was gay. He goes through this identity crisis of like, oh my God, this guy who is my dad, like this whole perception of him that I've had my entire life has completely shattered, which is an interesting commentary on homosexuality and just sexuality in general, of like finding out that someone's sexuality is different than what you may have perceived changes your opinion about them. But he's having a really visceral reaction, and then you have the daughter, Sydney Sweeney's character, and the friend being like, dad, that's homophobic. But I think it's a really interesting commentary on sexuality and the reception to sexuality, and also this perception of someone that you have in your mind shattering, because that's something that we've likely all experienced, maybe not to that extent of the intersection of someone's perception and sexuality being tied together and that shattering in our faces, but we can almost all relate to thinking of someone to be this one thing, and over time you learn something about them and you're like, oh, this is not the person that they were in my brain. Like, I had this idea, this almost idolized version of them. And now that I've learned this thing about them and acknowledging that they're human, or acknowledging that they're different than what I had perceived before, it's this weird experience. And it's like, that version of them almost dies in your head, and you experience that grief. So we watch him go through these different stages of grief, of him acknowledging his dad's sexuality, and then this version of his dad that he had in his brain for so long is dying or dead, and he's like grieving that version of him. And I just think that the way that Mike White writes these characters through all three of the seasons is so brilliant and so beautiful. And I think that if you're looking at it just being like, what's the plot? What's the plot? What's going to happen? You miss so many of these great things, so many of these great moments that are so innately human, but the way that he wraps them is in this weird, quirky little bow where it's like, you're watching and you're like, what the fuck is going on? But then you're like, oh, this is a very real and very human experience just through a little wacky lens that is Mike White. And I think that's what makes the show so beautiful. And I think that's what makes the show so great. And I really love it for those reasons. I think it's a great show. And it's shot so beautifully. Like, that's a big thing for me, is just like the cinematography. It's so beautiful. I just enjoy watching it. Just sitting and watching it. If I'm not listening, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. If I'm not looking, I'm enjoying what I'm hearing. Like, there's every aspect of it is done so well that it's so easy for me to love. But yeah, I enjoyed season 3. I don't know where I would rank it compared to the other 2 seasons. I think I have to go back and watch it more in a binge type of way, because I think week by week you kind of forget the little things that happen, the little details. And plus, like what I was saying earlier, of just being inundated with other people's opinions and theories and whatnot kind of convolutes your image or what you think is going to happen, or your perspective on it. So I kind of want to go back and rewatch it now that it's all out and I can watch it on my own time and my own pace. And yeah, I know what's going to happen, but again, that's really not the point of the show. It's not really plot driven, it's more character driven. So now I'm going to be able to pick up on different like nuances or different intricacies or foreshadowing that I may not have before. So I'm excited to do that. And my mom wants to watch it now. My mom's not a big show person, but she's been seeing so many things on TikTok. So I watched it week by week with my dad. So maybe me and my dad will go and just binge it with my mom. But yeah, I think that's all. There's a lot of other things that have gone on, but I just wanted to pick out some of the highlights, some of the things I felt like you guys might find interesting, just a little bit about what I've been up to. And I just want to catch up with you guys. I missed doing this. In my head, I get so ahead of myself because I have some really cool ideas that I'm working on to take this to another level, to take a lot of things to another level. But I tend to get a little bit ahead of myself and try to do it all at once. And then I get paralyzed by this idea, this grand image that I have. And then I get caught up in all the details and then I'm paralyzed. So this was a good way for me just to be like, okay, let's get our traction going again. Let's get our feet under us. And things are going to evolve. So just we're going to see changes. Hopefully we're going to see changes. I have some really cool ideas. It's just going to be a matter of actually executing them. We're going to run into road bumps like today with the camera. Things happen, but we're working on it. And I appreciate you guys just sticking around. I appreciate you watching, listening, whatever you're doing. I'm so grateful for you, and I hope you're having a great day, a great night. I hope you're staying safe. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world right now. Um, so I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're taking time to take care of yourself. Enjoy life as much as you can. Enjoy the things that you can control. Um, and yeah, we're all in this thing together. So go say something nice to someone. You don't know how it's going to change their life. You truly don't know the impact that you have on others. And yeah, I love you so much. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you soon. All right, I love you so much. Bye.